As we defend religious freedom in America, we're also standing up against religious persecution around the world. With us today are the parents of Eden Alexander, the last living American held hostage by Hamas. Thank you. Thank you. And we don't know how he's doing, really, do we? We don't know. We think we know, and hopefully positive. 2 months ago, we were pretty sure and looked like he was getting out, but they've toughened up a little bit, and it's a terrible thing. I know what you're going through. A New Jersey boy, Eden, moved to Israel in 2022 and was taken hostage on the vicious October 7th attack on Jewish people. And now I will tell you that's an attack that would have never happened because the money was given by Iran to Hamas. Iran had no money when I was president. They were out of money. They were bust. They had no money. They weren't giving it to Hamas. They weren't giving it to Hezbollah. They weren't giving it to anybody because they didn't have any money. They were just about bust. And in fact, I put sanctions on last night. Any oil that anybody takes from Iran is not allowed to do business in the United States of America. Which is what I did the last time. That drove them into a very bad state, and they were ready to make a deal, except for the election. Didn't turn out the way it should have. It was a rigged election, and we might as well say it. But it was totally rigged. It was disgraceful. I think it's going to go down as one of the biggest. We wouldn't have, think of it, your son would be home. You wouldn't have had October 7th. You wouldn't have had the Ukraine-Russian horror show that's going on that we're trying to stop, where 5,000 young Russians, mostly Russians, and Ukrainian soldiers are being killed every single week, 5,000 a week. So think of those parents, you know, they're from Russia, they're from Ukraine for the most part, and other people, but for the most part. And that would have never happened. It was never going to happen. No chance of it happening. Putin and I talked all the time. He knew it wasn't going to happen. I told him it wasn't going to happen. And through gross incompetence, it did take place, and it's a horrible thing. And you wouldn't have had inflation. Think of it. You wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had the horror show at Afghanistan, which I think is what gave Putin the resolve to go in and do what he did, because he looked at how badly we got out. We lost 13 soldiers. 42 were horribly injured. Nobody ever talks about them. The legs, the arms, the face, horribly injured. That would have never happened. Not even possible to have happened. And we would have been out before he was out. I was the one that got it down to the 5,000, but we were going to keep Bagram, the big Air Force base, which is 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear. That's what they do. They make their nuclear missiles, and 1 hour away from Bagram. And I said, you can't give up Bagram. They gave up Bagram, and right now China occupies Bagram. So sad, so crazy. One of the biggest air bases in the world, among the strongest and longest runways anywhere in the world. 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear missiles. It would have been great to have. Well, we were keeping it, but they ran out of there like nobody can believe. And I think Putin saw that, and he said, wow, this is a great time I can go get, because it was the apple of his eye. I could always see that. I talked to him for hours. It was the apple of his eye, but I said, Vladimir, don't even think about it. And he wouldn't have thought about it. But when he saw that, I think that's the reason, actually, he gained some additional courage and he went in.